Alright, so this is 3.4C elementary algebra. We're going to do some problems from the problem set. That's all this is going to be about. So if you look at 1 to 18, find the slope of the line through the following points of pairs, or pairs of points, and then graph. Alright, so let's just grab one. Let's grab 14. We've got -1 and 4, and they gave us 3, 4. Okay, and we're just using the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so that gives us 4 minus 4. So my y minus y, and since I picked that one first, I'm going to use 3 minus -1. 4 minus 4 is 0. I can pretty much stop there because I know I have a 0 slope because I have a 0 on the top. And when you graph it, it's easy enough because you just get your graph and graph those 2 points and draw your line. But since my y values are the same, I knew I was going to get a slope of 0. I was going to get a line that went this way, a horizontal line. So if you have the same y value, your slope is 0. If you have the same x value, your slope doesn't exist. So it makes it real easy to look right away and make that determination. So that's what they want, 1 to 18. You get to 19 to 22, and I'm going to bring a graph on here because these are sometimes a little tricky. Okay, so what does it say for 20? It gives us a point 0, 4, and it gives us another point 2, 0. And it's asking us to find that slope. Okay, so really simple. You draw your triangle. And it's, remember, your slope is y over x. Well, how many y's do I have? 4. And how many x's do I have? 2. So my slope is 2 and I'm done. Okay? But one of the things that's important to look at here is we're going downhill. And when we're going downhill from left to right, our slope is always negative. So don't forget to look at that. Is my graph going uphill or downhill? If it's going downhill, it's going to be a negative slope. All right, let's look at 23 on and see what kind of trouble they're giving you there. In each of the following problems, graph the line having the given slope and passing through the given point. Let's look at number 30. That one looks a little trickier. I kind of like to pick those. So it's that slope, and it's going through this point. So the line has got a slope of -3/5, and it goes through -3, -1. So we know it goes through there. We don't know which direction it goes. We just know it goes through there. And I know because of this negative that it's going downhill. All right, so we start, remember, we start at this point that they gave us, and we do y over x. Let's put y over x up here. So if we start here, what is my y? My y is -3, so that means I go down 3. So 1, 2, 3. I go down 3. Use that just as a point of reference. And then it says we go over 5. Which way? Well, it's positive, so we go right, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we end up here. So there's our next point. So this gives us our first point. This slope tells us where our next point is. And then we can draw a line that does that. And notice it goes downhill, so it's and shows that it's negative. And there we go. So that's how you do 23 to 34, and looks like a lot of the other ones there following that. But I do want to remind you of x and y intercepts. Notice on number 36, it says graph the line that has an x-intercept of 2. Remember, an x-intercept means that it crosses the x-axis at 2. That means that's where one of the points is. They don't have to tell you it's at point 20. They just say the x-intercept is at 2, where it crosses x is at 2. And a y-intercept is at -3. So where it crosses y is right there. Well, there's your 2 points, and you can draw your line. What is the slope of the line? Okay, so again, we're looking at how you got from one point to the other. How I got there is I went down, 1, 2, 3. Whenever you go down, you go negative. And then I went left, 1, 2. negative 2. When you go left, you go negative. When you go right, or down, you go negative. So my slope is negative 3 over 2, negative 2. Negative over negative is a positive, and it goes uphill, so I know it's a positive. So keep going here. 43 through 46, for each of the equation in the table, give the slope of the graph. Okay. So if, like 43, if the equation is x equals 3, then remember from the last lesson that x equals 3 is a vertical line. So that means it has no slope. If y equals 3, then it's a horizontal line, and it's a slope of 0. If y equals 3x, if you remember from the last section, whenever there's a number in front of x, it means that we have a slope of whatever number is in front. So the slope of that line is 3. Now we could draw that by putting, doing our whole xy thing here. We could draw that line and find out what the slope is, but any number in front of the x is going to be your slope. So it's real easy to figure out what the slope is. Alright, so that's what you're doing for 43 through 46. 47, let's see, what are we doing in this lesson? All the way to 65. 47 to 54. If a line that has the slope that is given, state the slope of a line that is parallel to this line. So, for example, on 47, it says the slope is 2/3. All right. What is the line parallel to that? What did I say about parallel lines? Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have flipped over opposite sine slope. Okay, so that's 47. Jump down to 55 through 62. And what are they asking for? Determine if the lines passing through the given pairs of points are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. And this is the exact same thing we did for example 7. So it really shouldn't give you any trouble there. Let's look at 62 though. Find y if the line through 1y and 7, 3 has a slope of 6. Okay, so we're going to graph that. 1y, I have no idea where 1y is, but I do know where 7, 3 is. And I'm supposed to find 1y. I'm supposed to find the y value. So I have 1y and I have 7, 3. And they're asking me to find the y value given that my slope is 6. Okay. So remember, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What is the slope? 6. So I can change that m to a 6. And let's use y2. Let's use this one. Minus y1 over x2, 1 minus 7. So y minus 3 over negative 6. Alright, so this has to be equal to 6, right? So I'm trying to find a number that I can put in there for y that when I subtract 3 of it from it and divide by negative 6, I'm going to get a positive 6. Well, how do I get a positive 6 when this is negative? Well, this number up here has to be negative 2. Not negative 2, but negative as well. So what number over 6 is 6? Well, 36 is. 36 over 6 reduces to 6. So y minus 3 has to be 36. So this is going to have to be like 39, right? 39 minus 3 is 36. But we need this number to be negative because that one is negative in order for us to get a positive answer. So negative over negative. So this is just kind of doing logic, trying to figure out what we're going to do here. So how do I get a negative 36? Y minus 3, that top number has to give me a negative 36. Well, if I add 3 here and add 3 here, y equals negative 33. There's my number right there that I'm looking for. Y is negative 33. Now, these are hard. I don't expect these to be simple for you, but if you follow this direction, if you have to do 61, I don't even know if I assign 61, but that would be the direction that you would go with that. All right, so the story problems that are following 63 through 65, so you're probably going to have to do one of those. It tells you find the slope of each of the 4 line segments. So in number 63, you have 4 line segments. Line segment A, B, C, and D. And remember, you're just doing y over x. So however far it is, like on A and 63, what number is that? 1960, that number that we went up is 88. So that is how high that is, and it goes up to from 88 to 121. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's look at, let's do this a little bit different. Let me take a picture here. Okay, there's a picture. Not real clear, but remember, the slope is y2, the change in y, over the change in x. Okay, so let's look at our points here for the first one, that point and that point. What point is this? That point is 1960, 88. So that point is 1960. We went over 1960 and we went up 88. This point here, 1970, and we are up at 121. And I got that information from right here. So now if I use this formula, so y2, 88 minus 121 over my x, that doesn't look like a 1960, does it? Okay, so 88 minus 121 equals negative 33, and that's going to be over 1960 minus 1970, which is negative 10. Both of them are negative, so that gives me a positive 33 over 10 for that slope. Okay? And you're going to do the same thing to find the slope from here to here, and the slope from here to here, and the slope from here to here. And that's what it's asking for. Find the slope of each of the 4 line segments A, B, C, and D. And I really wouldn't worry about B. Just do the A. Find the slope of each of those 4. If you have to do number 65, same thing. Find the slope, but don't worry about the B part of it. And that's it for problem set 3.4.